Alright, today it's New Year's, about to be New Year's in a few hours. Hopefully I get this up before New Year's. What I hope for the New Year to give us is, for one, Bungie needs to add more supers to the Strand and Stay subclass, which is the Darkness subclass. They need to add at least one more. I feel like it's necessary. I feel like it's ridiculous there hasn't been another one for either or. So I feel like Bungie needs to add it 100%. I feel like Arc for the Hunter needs a well slash bubble type of super, and it makes sense to be Arc for the Hunter because the other two are Void and Solar, so it just makes sense. I believe for a fact they need to do that, and it has to be Arc. I want the third Darkness subclass to come out this year. I doubt it will, but I'm really hoping we get it this year. I think Linears, special Linears to be exact, which is Arbalist, I believe, and Lorentz. I believe they both need a buff for PvE and PvP. Not a huge buff for PvP, but a PvE, yeah, a huge buff. Because they're useless. Like, Arbalist was good because anti-barrier, but the moment they gave Wishender the same perk, which is this, it made Arbalist useless. So Arbalist needs something for that little mwah, a little extra mwah damage, you know what I mean? And then Lorentz is just the most useless gun in the game right now. I hate they've done this to the specials for PvP and PvE. They're so useless. There's no point. The flinch is ridiculous. The targeting is shit. Everything about it is shit. It doesn't feel like it's worth using in PvE or PvP. I think they need to buff it. I don't want them for PvP to make them broken like they were. I want them to do the last buff they did. I want them to get rid of it. Or the last nerf, sorry, they did. I want them to get rid of it. Because Lorentz was barely being used by anyone. That little extra nerf they did was pointless. All it did was guarantee no one will use it. Instead of once in a while people will use it. I loved it with that nerf. I thought it was good. That 4 times flinch is literally what destroyed the gun. It makes it pointless. I think they need to get rid of that. I think heavy linears need to have their damage increased by 10%. Or is it 5, 6? No, sorry, 7% increase on linears will actually put them on the board to be useful again. Yes, there's a couple bosses you can use them on, but they're still not overall useful, and I feel like that's the problem. They feel so nerfed, and it's only one specific one that is meta, which is the bait and switch roll from the Val the Disciple raid, which I can't remember what it's called at this moment. Let me look real quick. Oh, that's Rude Nightmares. Where's Val at? Ah, here it is. It is the Cataclysmic. It's the only one that really is good. The rest of them kind of suck right now. I think they need a 7% at least increase. These are things that I feel like need to happen to make the game more fun, in my opinion. I think the lightweight frame pulses, which is Stay Frosty right now, and Outbreak, both of these and other ones need a range bump. They feel worse than a fast fire rate pulse, but fast fire rate pulses have more range than them, which makes no sense to me. The fast fire rate should have less range, and these ones should have more, and then the high impact should have the most. It just makes sense. I don't get why Bungie's being stingy about that. I want them to add exotics that actually do something. Like, so this Wishkeeper exotic, it's awesome, it's cool, it's nice, but it's not there. Like, they were too afraid to make it overpowered. Meanwhile, we have a shotgun that freezes and ignites everything. Great for super destruction, which, you know, it's a special. Okay, I get it. But then you say, okay, so specials can get more things because it's special. But then we go and look at, well, what's it called? Where is it? Hold on, give me a second. I can find it. Cryesthesia. This thing will freeze you / slow you on hits. This is ridiculous. This thing is cracked, and right now it's starting to show a little bit of usage, but it's so cracked, it's ridiculous. It's free kills. It literally is. And that's a primary. Yet they've been so hateful towards the rest of them. Like, they don't want to give them overpowered perks, but they leave that one in the mix. Either nerf it, so it's not as good as or buff the other one so they're as good as it. Like, it's that simple. Necrochasm needs a range buff. It is the worst range out of anything. If you see anyone mapping with this, I'm telling you now, they are cheating. This thing has no range compared to every other auto in the game. Yes, you can use it at certain ranges. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying that TTK is so trash at those ranges. If somebody's nuking you, they're 99% of the time cheating. And you're like, oh, how do you know? Well, when they're a 0.5 dropping a 7.0 KD, I think you know at that point. Which it seems to be the cheater's favorite gun right now is Necrochasm, which is really weird, but yeah. I feel like Lumina needs a buff to range because it feels outclassed. I think Thorn needs a nerf to its range. I get it just got buffed, but they literally said several seasons ago they didn't want to buff Thorn's range when they buffed all the other hand cannons range because they didn't want it to be overpoweredly meta. What did they go and do? Made it overpoweredly meta by increasing the range a ridiculous amount. The other buffs for it definitely helped it become better, like the overflow, the mag and stuff. I think those are good buffs though. That's what its biggest problem was with the mag. It was lacking mag, which they now fixed. But then they gave it too much range, and then they gave it Killing Wind on top of that, so it gets even more range. It's just so stupidly cracked. It's out of this world. That's the balance. SMG still need their nerf of the century, which it still needs to be back to what it was before Lightfall. That season before Lightfall, SMGs were meta, but not brokenly meta. They're still brokenly meta. I don't care because other weapons are being used. People are like, oh, but others are being used now. People are only using other things because they're tired of the meta. The moment you get into competitive, though, and get against good teams, if they're losing for even a second, or one round, or even die and they're upset about it, instant SMGs. They could win the round, they'll still switch to SMGs because they died. That's just how it is. SMGs are so broke, especially on Ending Tempest. So is Shariah's, but an Ending is better in my opinion, only because of Target Lock, which I still think Shariah's is the best by far, feels better as a whole, but because of Target Lock, this makes Unending better. SMGs need to be nerfed. Bungie, it's simple. We've been asking for it for a long time. Figure it out. It's not rocket science. It's what the most asked thing is right now, is SMG nerf. But SMGs no get nerfed because Bungie wants to keep them meta for whatever crackhead reason they have. So, like, that's the main issues of the game right now. And cheaters, obviously. Cheaters are running rampant again, but it is because nobody's in the office, really, so they always run rampant in the holidays. But at the same time, they were increasing even before the holidays by a massive amount. Because people are getting tired of facing cheaters, so now they're starting to cheat to counter the cheaters, which is causing a new system of chaos, and it's not okay. Bungie, do your job, ban motherfuckers. People are like, oh, well, that's whatever they're called business. Whoever's in charge, Battle Eyes. Then Bungie needs to be paying them more or something or tell them to do their job because they're shit at it. The raid weapons, all the raid weapons, these are things like I want done, obviously. So the raid weapons, every single raid that's not currently craftable needs to be crafted. It's at this point, crafting, I think it still needs a lot of tweaking. I think it needs to be nerfed a bit, make it a little harder to get the crafted weapons. But since Bungie doesn't want to do that, you need to make all these old raid weapons craftable. It's that simple. Dungeon weapons, I think the same thing. It's like there's no point keep making them RNG. Nobody's going to farm it once they get the exotic, if they even care for the exotic. The only people that keep going for the weapons are collectors. And that's it. The rest of people don't go for them because they don't care for them. Because they're going to make it already... They've already made it crafted, or they're going to make it a craftable version eventually. So people don't care. So they might get it now, but only to try it out. So, you see, this is the problem with the game right now. There's too much need because they don't want to do it. And we know they don't because now Bungie has confirmed that. Well, employees that fired confirmed the problem, which is the higher up. Management needs to get over themselves. They're not going to make a fucking dime, the greedy bastards, if they don't know how to fucking actually make a game properly. It's kind of embarrassing at this point. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of embarrassing. But, yeah, so, you know, like, Bungie, come on. A lot of this stuff is super easy to do, super simple. It's not hardcore. A lot of things that just need a slight bit of nerf or a slight bit of buff. That's simple. I don't want certain things to be meta as fucking. I don't want certain things to be flipping useless. They just need a balance, which the balance is there. They're just not doing it. This is what I want for the new year. These are the things I think they need to be having. Also, error codes. Error codes are out of control again. They've been out of control for like 3 seasons. You're just gonna get slapped with error codes. The maintenance, everything as a whole is just really bad. Bungie, fix it. Please fix your server so Final Shape can actually be dope. I think they need to add the supers for Final Shape, the ones they're already adding, plus new Darkness ones. Plus, I think they need to add one each super for each new class, or for each Strand and Stasis class. I think they need to add a super for each one, for each character. And so that's a total of 6 more supers on top of the 3 they're already getting, plus a new subclass. And then people are like, oh, that's a lot to do. They don't have to do it all in the one season, okay? They can spread it out throughout that year, but I want it all out in this year. Because that's the only way I'm staying around. Also, Siva, before I cut this up, Siva Bungie, please revert what you said. It was the worst mistake you've ever done. It's the worst thing ever. Wrath of the Machine is the most requested raid in the game, and Bungie said, nah, we don't want to bring it back now. Please change that, Bungie. Bring Siva back. Fine, don't bring Wrath back. Just bring Siva, the most advanced technology you've ever put in the game and the most advanced creative possibility in the game. We want to see Siva. That is the community. Not just me. That's the entire community that plays this game wants to see Siva again. And people was like, oh, all you want is things brought back from the past. Siva never ended. It never had an ending. How they ended it was not a true ending. That was a, to be continued ending. That's literally how they set that up. And people are like, oh, that's not true. It is. Go play the campaign. I don't know why Bungie thinks that's a good way they ended it. It's horrible. It was literally a to be continued moment. So Siva needs to come back. We need a Siva gun other than Outbreak. I would love to see more Siva weapons. I don't care if they're all exotics. I'm fine with all exotic Siva weapons. I think it's fine. People are like, oh, we should have legendary version. No, fuck a new element. Siva would be a new element. Fuck it. I don't care for that. Purely Siva themed weapons. All exotic. I am fine with that. Not ornaments, actual weapons like Outbreak. You get like a hand cannon that does something crazy. You get like a heavy weapon. Like, I just want one weapon at least in each slot, right? I'd like a special energy and another one. And if they're all exotic, fuck it. I'm fine with that. I accept that. But that's my ramblings. That's what I want for the final shape / New Year. I'm hoping the Wish thing, whatever it's coming out in February, will actually add stuff to the game and not just be, ooh, do this triumph, get a fucking shader, get some engrams, some, ooh, this or that. Like, I hope it's actually something good. And then that thing comes out in, what is it, like May or June or whatever it was. Not September, March, April. I think it was April or something. Whatever it was, May or something, whatever it is. The last 2 months of the season, I want that, whatever that to be, is to bring a new activity, a new exotic like they did for 30th anniversary. I understand it won't be as big. I don't want it to be as big. I want it to be like a dungeon size. Not as big like long-wise, but it's in like encounter-wise. You get 3 small encounters. They're easy. They're fun. They're unique. They got cool things. They got some lore behind them. They got some collectibles. They got an exotic quest. They got exotic catalysts, of course. Like, different things like that. I want creativity again. Bungie, we had creativity. We had it for a while. Let's add it back. Let's bring the community back from the dead. Literally, they do all this stuff. I'm sticking around. I bought the new Final Shape Big Deluxe thing, but this officially is going to be my last year unless they blow me out of the water. Not just lore, which is what they think for some reason. Story is the only thing they need. It needs to be missions, secret missions, excess farmable missions. Crafting system needs to be better. Weapons need to be buff / nerf for those that need the nerfs and need the buff. Weapons need to be better balanced. The game just needs more abilities. Because, and people are like, oh, there's already too many abilities. You're right in this sense, there's too many abilities. Because they're going to have to keep changing and adapting, especially if they add more stuff. And I agree with that logic. And I get that. But we need it because it's what they promised in a sense. And I know people are like, what do you mean? It's because that's how the original system was. And Bungie confirmed there was supposed to be a third darkness subclass. So that's on them. And they even said the reason they gave Arcstrider another super originally was because they felt bad it only had one. They wanted to make sure it had at least 2. That's how they said it. So logic by that logic, again, they promised every super will have 2. So hopefully this year will be the year of darkness, and we'll get a second super for each class. I hope they add more aspects, more fragments as well for every class, but I feel like we need those new supers. That's just my opinion on it. That's what I want done. This is what I want for the new year. This is what I want to set for Bungie. I know they can't do it all in one season. I'm fine if it takes the full year to come out. But this list of things happens within the next year, I'll play another year. They don't, I don't really care to play because there's not enough for me. It's, to me, in my opinion, ain't worth playing. There's no engagement anymore. There's no creativity. The missions aren't anything. It just feels like drone work. The lore is just kind of who gives a shit at this point because they just keep fucking with it so much. I don't even care for it. I used to love the lore, and now I'm just like, whatever. And the guns just absolutely destroy PvP to the point there's no point using them. And then they nerf things that don't need to be nerfed, and they buff things that don't need the buffs. And they're like, oh, we'll slightly nerf it, and the nerf didn't even affect anything. So, Bungie, what you doing? Hopefully, 18th is the new TWID. They'll come out with a whole bunch of crazy info and say, this is the changes, this is what's coming for the Wish thing that's happening in February, this is the thing that comes later, this is the new showcase we get in April. We're supposed to get a new showcase for the Final Shape in April. I'm excited for that. Like, there's things going to happen this year, but it really matters what they are. These Wish things can't just be, oh, go farm this, get a Triumph, ooh, you get a Shader, or ooh, I get Enhancement Core, or Prisms, or some Alloys. Like, who cares, Bungie? I want effects. I want to do this Triumph, and now I can go fucking craft. If I complete a raid of Garden or something, I can craft all the Garden weapons now or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like that. There's accomplishments that a community can hit. Like, if the community gets this many kills in Garden, all the weapons become craftable here and now. Boom! Everyone would go do that. You know, or, ooh, complete this Triumph in Garden and you can select the perks you want for the crafted weapons that will add to them when we make it crafted or something. Like, it needs to be a cause and effect, not, oh, go do a Triumph, get a, ooh, I have a Enhancement core. Wow. It's pointless, Bungie. Come on. Anyways, that's my rant, but that's also what I want for this new year. I want this year, it's the final shape. I want it to be a banger. This next year has to be a banger for me to give a shit to keep playing. So Bungie, make it a banger. Do what you're supposed to do. If you enjoyed the rant, like and subscribe. Leave a comment what you think and what you want, or what you think about what I said. We out of here. Adios.